fact is they could still do that.
But the reason they can do it isn't because they can fool somebody into thinking there's the MCA or valid patents. The reason they can do it is the guy on the other side doesn't have a lawyer. My solution is not to make new law. My solution is to make good lawyers.
I agree with your
and
solution.
offer them for free to the people who need them. That will unintimidate them regardless of the state of the patent system. Let me give another example deeply related to the thing you were talking about. So MPEG-LA holds a whole bunch of patents on the multimedia codecs, and you've described beautifully why that's an incredibly difficult business and why Google hasn't actually solved it for us. I've been waiting for MPEG-LA to come and threaten free software projects that don't actually build devices, they simply emit source code. And a little while ago, somebody got such a letter from MPEG-LA saying, you make a free software project that does something with video, and we want you to take a license. Now, in Europe, there are many patent lawyers who think that source code can never infringe a patent because it merely describes the content of the patent. US patent lawyers, by and large, don't care about that because they think that if it doesn't infringe, it induces infringement, and it's all the same anyway. I had a conversation with MPEG-LA's chief licensing lawyer, and I said, I've warned you before that we might be drifting towards a confrontation about this. Now, you've actually sent 2 licensing letters to some people who release nothing but source code. Do you really want this to be the time we have a fight about this? He said, oh, on your assurance that they only distribute source code? I said, yes, absolutely, on my representation that they only distribute source code. He said, that's all I need, thank you, goodbye, and he tore up the licensing demand. I'm not going to do anything about those patents right now because I don't have to, though I spent a lot of time and I know more about the MPEG-LA portfolio than anybody except the guys who will sell you the report for $250,000 a copy. But I don't have to do anything if all I can do is back him down. And the reason I'm backing him down isn't that he thinks his patents are invalid. He doesn't care. He's a licensing authority. The patents are held by all the guys you name. The reason he backs down is it's not the right time to have the fight, and I'm the wrong guy to have it with, and the children would be the wrong guy to be having it with on television. In other words, it's really the quality of the lawyering which determines what happens next, not the quality of the law. It's another form of American legal realism being crammed down your throat, and I apologize for it, but I think it's true. I don't think in the end it makes any difference what the statute says, because I'm an American lawyer and I don't think statutes mean anything. I think what matters is what the judge had for breakfast. And I think what matters is what the other lawyers got in his gut. And if what he has in his gut is fear of us, then it doesn't really matter. So if I can do the business of Venki's guys and make some fear in the gut of the guys on the other side, I'm protecting my people a whole lot better than I would be protecting them if I spent all my life on patent reform and got nowhere, or all my life on litigating patent validity, one patent at a time, and got somewhere occasionally. Right?
I agree. But my only point is that
we need kind of we will agree over the next 45 minutes. Thank you. And then I'll try and sum it up after hearing from all of you. So I'll start with Prodyut from this end, go to Jaijit, then Eben, then I will take the questions and then summarize at the end of it. So I'm not going to offer anything, which is a good thing.
No, I've got my mic.
Oh, you got it.
Thank you very much. A very good evening to all of you. I'm Prodyut Bora. I'm currently the General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state of Assam. And prior to this, I was the national convener of BJP's Information Technology Cell. Some of you, I don't expect all of you, would also know that just before the Lok Sabha elections, we came up with an IT vision document. I was the principal author of the document, and we had promised that should the BJP or the NDA come to power, India would go open source and open standards. So it's there in black and white, it's still there on the net, please feel free to download a copy. So pretty much you know which side of the debate I am on. But much as my position is clear, I must also kind of warn you that I'm not a techie, nor am I a lawyer, nor am I an academic. And I'm not trained to think in those lines, nor am I trained to speak in that language. I'm a politician, I think like a politician. And I would say that this environment is quite foreign to me. Now, it's been an absolutely fascinating day, and I've been here since the morning, kind of listening to every bit of what everybody had to say. And it's been a wonderful education for me. And I didn't think that this topic would have so much of richness and so many interesting facets to it. And which is why I say it's been an incredible education. But much as I am kind of excited, I'm kind of impressed, I'm kind of so happy to be listening to all our speakers today, I ask myself one simple question. That would this discussion, these debates, make it to the newspapers tomorrow? I'm not sure if there is any media people here, but it doesn't look like. But even if they were, even if there was somebody from the Economic Times sitting here, there was somebody from the Times of India or the Hindu sitting here, will it get front page coverage? Because I think these are issues that deserve front page coverage. Now, even if it does make it to the newspapers, you issue a press release and it does make it to the newspaper. Question is, what is the size of the coverage you are going to get? One centimeter column, 5 centimeter columns, 2 columns? What is the coverage you're going to get? Third, no matter what is the advocacy you do, will it ever result in a Hindu Times of India, Hindustan Times, Economic Times editorial? And will this issue ever get debated in Parliament? Because if it doesn't, there's absolutely no use for it. It's not worth it. You can keep debating, you can keep discussing, you can keep writing papers. We can have such interesting conversations. But unless it gets to Parliament, it doesn't help. And which is why I think that unless we do things differently, and I'll present my perspective, my take on it, the politicians, the big fat Indian ugly politicians take on it. Unless we do things differently, I think these ideas will have limited mobility beyond this room. And I'll tell you what these challenges are. I've been asked to talk about the challenges and the opportunities. My first concern is whatever we talk today, the kind of language we use, the kind of imagery we use, the kind of metaphors we use. The first problem that I see is that it sounds suspiciously leftist. And I talk as a pure rightist, you know. So you talk something like Sumita, before you start talking in 5 minutes, my mind kind of switches off. So you talk of commons, you talk of common property, you talk of these things, and my mind is kind of already switched off. I do understand, of course, that this is not a general audience. You know, this is not a public rally of 50,000 people or 1 lakh people. I do understand it's a very elite audience, it's a very, very kind of a close group of similar minds, and so you are kind of talking in your discourse. But my concern is that if this issue is to go beyond the confines of this room to a larger audience, if this issue is to reach the public and the public needs to kind of understand it, I think the language needs to be very, very different. It also sounded extremely foreign and academic. I would argue that unless you can vernacularize this issue, it would get nowhere. The moment you talk of commons, you think of a pastoral England, the kind of imagery that kind of comes in your mind. I mean, mind you, we had commons in India. We had a common management of natural resources. But I'm not sure whether commons is a word many people understand. I myself wonder how many journalists, how many media people, how many reporters would really kind of understand the word commons. So to my mind, from my perspective, this is a serious question. I remember the entire debate on biotechnology and biotech IPR. There were lengthy debates everywhere, but it did not catch the public imagination till the time there was a newspaper headline saying that Basmati is being patented. That's when it caught the public eye. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Right? So that's when it caught the public imagination. That's when it became an issue that was discussed and debated beyond the confines of academia. So it reached Parliament. And we all know, I mean, what happened thereafter. WWF, I kind of remember that when WWF adopted the panda as its logo, why did it do it? Why did they adopt the panda as its logo? Why did Basmati and Neem and Haldi became the poster boys for our traditional knowledge, right? So I think that one of the big challenges for us today is when we talk of software patent, is that how can we create a vernacular icon? How can we create vernacular imagery for it? And unless you can create vernacular imagery, it remains a very, very academic topic. But I think, and I really believe, that this is a topic that goes beyond pure academic relevance. This is a topic that has a lot to do with our common future. But the challenge is, how do we communicate it using vernacular imagery, vernacular language? And is there a possibility? I think yes. I'll take 2 minutes. 2 minutes, exact 2 minutes. And my suggestion, the possibility that or the opportunity that I see is if we could move the terms of this debate from the process of patents, right, to its implications. What I would argue is that you talk about digital sovereignty. Today you've seen in this country how we are so passionate about nuclear sovereignty. Go and talk about digital sovereignty, how software patents impact digital sovereignty. Today, if a BlackBerry can be stopped, if a BlackBerry can be kind of questioned, I'm sure there's a lot more we can do provided we couch it in the right language. And I think digital sovereignty is a term that needs to be popularized, is a concept that needs to be kind of talked about, because it's outcome based, it's not process oriented. Second thing, India talks about being a knowledge economy. Talk about how software patents is an impediment to India becoming a knowledge economy. It catches attention. And finally, since I've asked for 2 minutes, my final point is, show the alignment of whatever you are talking today to our civilizational values. Unless you can make that connect, this will be some esoteric topic led by some mad American professor and nothing. So you got to show that civilizational connect. You do it, I'm sure it's going to kind of be as popular as Neem and Haldi and Basmati. Is going to become as popular as the nuclear bill. Thank you.